Hi guys, there are rare occasions when Laura Kuenssberg actually does her job, and she has to be commended for that. Now, she had Helen Whately, a Tory MP, on the show, where Whately was called out on a lie that she had pushed back in October when it came to people with disabilities, people with mental health issues, and mobility vehicles. Have a listen to this.
In October, you said millions are getting benefits for anxiety and ADHD along with a free Motability car. Now, you said millions. We've looked at the numbers. There are 1.1 million, not millions of people getting benefits for those kinds of conditions. And in total, there are 190,000 people with mental health conditions who are eligible for a car. Isn't it important, while we have this debate, that you get your facts absolutely straight?
So yes, and I know, and I was making a general point about the problem.
So she couldn't say, yes, I was wrong. Yes, I'm going to take back that misinformation, and I'm not going to do it again. But no, she will be, I can guarantee you, the next interview she does, she will be talking once again about millions of people. She will be in the House of Commons talking about millions of people. It's right that these lies are called out, but unfortunately, the lying will not stop.
That we have with very large numbers of people getting benefits, as I said, for things that actually people would be better off in work. And as we know,
PIP is a non-work related benefit or entitlement. We should stop calling it benefits. Entitlement. PIP is not related to work. Some people who are receiving PIP are working and others are not. So you also have to remember those who are working in many ways because of PIP. It provides them with the support they need in order to get into work. For example, a mobility vehicle. If they didn't have the mobility vehicle, they wouldn't be able to work. We keep hearing from the Tories, we need to punish these people on benefits, entitlements, in order to encourage them to work. But if some of them are working because of the support they receive, taking that support away, what do you think it's going to do? It's going to stop them from working. And then you're going to be complaining that these people are not working. When it comes to the mobility vehicles, we keep hearing about how people are receiving free cars. No, the cost of the mobility vehicle is taken out of their PIP payment. Now, it covers some of the cost, depending on the vehicle, but if they want a more expensive vehicle, they have to pay for that themselves. So people are not receiving free vehicles, they're receiving vehicles that are covered under PIP. Part of their PIP payment goes to that. And that's a decision that people can make. Now, they have to be eligible, of course. So there's a process, but either Helen Whately doesn't understand this or she's lying once again.
The evidence tells us that actually often with a milder mental health problem or something...
But you don't care about evidence. You were presented with the evidence that you were lying and you didn't really admit. You went, yes, okay, now let's just continue on the narrative that there are too many people on so-called benefits.
Neurodiversity like ADHD, you can be working and you would be better off in work.
But in terms of the impression that you're giving politically, if you say millions of people are getting a free car and actually it's less than 200,000...
Laura Kuenssberg had an opportunity here to correct this narrative, not just to poke at her for telling lies. Yes, she has lied. She's a Tory. They do it all the time. But let's move on from the lie and focus on what the problem with the narrative itself is. That is misinformation. Not that so much that she lied. Yes, she lied. But there was an opportunity here, but now it's completely gone.
Isn't that pretty misleading?
So I think what I'm expressing is the frustration that people feel with our welfare system at the moment and with the way the country is, where you've got people who are working as hard as they can, whether they're working double shifts.
Yes, and some of them are on PIP. Some of them are on universal credit. What she's trying to do is create this false narrative that there are people who are working and they're paying for people who are not working. And that's a very clear distinction. There's a line down there on the one side, people who are putting in the hard graft, and then other people who are sitting on the sofa all day.
They're trying to pay the bills, and they're just seeing their taxes going up, and they don't feel that the government has a grip on this, and they are right about that.
We hear that from our viewers every week. That frustration is obviously very real, but as a senior politician, isn't it important also to have this debate in a way where you're sure of your numbers, rather than saying something that's completely misleading?
Well, actually, I think, and if you listen to what I've said about this over many months, I come at it with a thoughtful approach.
a thoughtful approach. You lied. But as I said before, there was an opportunity here to correct this frigging ridiculous narrative. And Laura Kuenssberg decided, let's not talk about the reality. Let's talk about the fact that Helen Whately lied. There was an opportunity lost. An opportunity to hold this politician to account, the fact that she lied, but also that her narrative is completely false. She's once again trying to convince people that if you're on benefits, you're not working. And if you are taken off benefits, that will mean that you will work. When the reality of the situation is 40% of people on universal credit are working, and that a significant number of people who receive PIP are working because they receive PIP. Helen Whately wants to remove that support. The Tories want to eliminate benefits, pretty much. They want to force people who are currently unable to work into jobs that they can't do, and to hell with the consequences. So I commended Laura Kuenssberg at the beginning because she did half of the job, but she's not a proper journalist. I'm not a journalist, and I can see through this ridiculous narrative that the Tories are pushing. What's wrong with Laura Kuenssberg? She receives a massive salary, but she can't do her job. Another failed opportunity. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think, and I'll see you in the next video.